Have you ever found yourself alone on a train late at night? The rhythmic clatter of wheels on tracks, the dim glow of flickering lights, and the endless stretch of darkness outside your window. It's peaceful, isn't it? But what if I told you that sometimes the train isn't as empty as it seems? Tonight, I'll tell you the story of the midnight passenger tale that will make you think twice about riding alone after dark. It was a cold, rainy night in October. Emma, a young journalist, was returning home after a long day of work. She had missed her usual train and was forced to take the last one of the night, the 11:45 p.m. express. The station was nearly empty, save for a few weary travelers and the occasional station attendant. As she boarded the train, she noticed how unusually quiet it was. Only a handful of passengers were scattered across the cars, each lost in their own world. Emma found a seat by the window, her reflection staring back at her in the glass. She pulled out her laptop, hoping to finish an article, but something felt off. The air was heavy, almost suffocating, and the lights in the car flickered intermittently. She shook off the feeling, blaming it on exhaustion, and tried to focus on her work. About an hour into the journey, Emma felt a chill run down her spine. She looked up and noticed a man standing at the far end of the train. He was tall, wearing a long, dark coat, and his face was obscured by the shadow of his hat. What struck her as odd was that he didn't seem to be moving. Emma tried to ignore him, but the feeling of being watched was overwhelming. She glanced up again, and this time, the man was closer, much closer. He was now standing just a few rows away, still staring. Her heart began to race. She told herself it was just her imagination, but deep down, she knew something was wrong. She decided to move to another train. Grabbing her bag, she quickly walked toward the door, her footsteps echoing in the empty train. As she reached for the handle, she heard a voice, a low, raspy whisper that sent shivers down her spine. Stranger whispering, "You can't leave, Emma." She froze. How did he know her name? She turned around, but the man was gone. Emma's mind raced. She tried to convince herself it was just a prank or a figment of her tired mind, but the fear was too real. She hurried to the next train, hoping to find anyone who could help. But as she entered, she realized something was terribly wrong. The train was completely empty. No passengers, no conductor, not even the faint hum of the train's engine. It was as if she had stepped into another world. The lights flickered again, and when they came back on, the man was there, standing right in front of her. Stranger calmly, "You shouldn't have taken this train, Emma." She screamed and stumbled backward, but there was nowhere to go. The man's face was now visible, and what she saw made her blood run cold. His eyes were hollow, his skin pale and cracked like old porcelain. He wasn't human. Stranger smiling. "This train doesn't take you home, it takes you to them." Before she could react, the train lurched violently, and the lights went out completely. When they came back on, Emma was no longer on the train. She was in a dark, endless void, surrounded by shadowy figures reaching out for her. The last thing she heard was the man's voice, echoing in the darkness. Stranger whispering, "Welcome to the other side, Emma." The next morning, the train arrived at its destination, but Emma was nowhere to be found. Her belongings were still in her seat, her laptop open to an unfinished article. The authorities searched the train and the tracks but found no trace of her. To this day, no one knows what happened to Emma, but if you ever find yourself on the last train of the night, and you see a tall man in a dark coat staring at you from the end of the train, don't wait. Get off at the next stop, because you never know where the midnight passenger might take you. Thanks for hopping aboard the night train. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share this video with your fellow thrill seekers.